Welcome to My Zone Online School. My name is Teacher Mutsa. Get your education booklet in our daily newspaper, street sales, or at your school every Monday to Thursday for pre-primary up until grade 3. The lessons are for listening or watching online. Inside the newspapers, there is an insert of the lesson booklet. Please cut the top of the lesson booklet with a pair of scissors and fold it for ready to use. But there is more. We are also available on our online platforms, MyZone and Zoshi Facebook pages, and in addition, our website, Zoshi Online. Hello grade 3s and welcome to My Zone Online School. My name is Teacher Mutsa and thank you so much for joining me today. Our theme this week is culture and traditions. And before we get into any lessons, boys and girls, it is very important for us to sanitize. Please take your sanitizer. Now remember, when we sanitize, we are showing the world that we are responsible, boys and girls. We can also practice good social distancing when we are in public areas. Well done. Today's lesson is all about subtraction and problem solving. Our first exercise, grade 3s, let us turn to page 26. On page 26, we are going to be subtracting, but we're going to be subtracting in different ways. Now, as you can see, there are 4 numbers, but there are many sums. So I'm going to help you with at least 1 for each. Let's take a look at the board. Now, the first one that I'm going to help you is number 1C. And this one is simple. It is saying 18 minus 6. So what we're going to do is to count backwards from the number 18. So we have our 18 here, and then we're going to count 6 going backwards. So we're going to start from the number 18. Let's go. 1, 2, counting back, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we have counted 6 going back, which means our answer is 12. Now remember, when you are counting backwards, you actually need to check. And how do you check, boys and girls? You can count again 6 going forward. So we are going to do that. So we're going to check by starting at 12 and moving on to the next number, counting 6. If our answer is correct, we need to be back at 18. So let's try. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So our answer is correct. Now I want you to take your time because remember, you can only write the answers on the delicious slices that you can see. Let's now move on to the number 2. Now number 2 is different because this time for number 2, we have different delicious sweet treats. And our cupcake is 10. Our slice is 20. Our pie is 30. And our cake is 40. They have given you different sums with the different delicious treats. And it is up to you to replace the delicious treats and then subtract. We are going to do F together. Now, F actually says 200. Then we look at the symbol. We have a slice, and our slice is telling us 20. And then after that, we have a pie, and our pie is telling us 30. So our sum now says 200 minus 20 minus 30. So the first thing that you can do is find out what is 200 minus 20. Now, if we were to have 200 from your number line, you are going to be counting backwards. And when you count backwards from your number line, your answer is going to be, if you subtract 20, 180. So I'm going to write our new sum here, 180. And then you need to remember that there is still minus 30. So after you count backwards on your number line and you get to 180, we still need to take away 30. So with the same number line, I want you to count backwards until you get to 30. If you count backwards until you get to 30, your answer from 180 minus 30 will be 150. So with this one, you are going to need your number line. The number line that we have been using, the big one, all the way up to 200. I want you to please use your finger as you're counting backwards and say the numbers out loud. Now, let us go to number 3. On number 3 in our booklet, we can see that we have the sums that are being asked for. Number 3 in our booklet is asking for subtraction with the balloon. Now the subtraction with the balloon is very simple, boys and girls, because all we are doing is taking away the number that is in the balloon. And when you do that, you can write your answer on the other side. So we have chosen B, where in the balloon it was saying minus 2. So now we have 24 minus 2. Now 24 minus 2 is very simple, boys and girls, and we are going to use our counters instead. Remember, when you are subtracting, you are counting backwards. So for our counters today, we only need 2. So I'm going to count 1 and then take a blue one for our answer and put the rest away. So we are going to count backwards from the number that is before 24. So the number before 24 is 23, and that's where we're going to start. 23, 22. So our answer is 22. There we go. Now you can also use your fingers and anything else for counters. Remember, a counter can be anything simple. My counters here are bottle tops. You can also use your colors and even your number chart. Now for the last one, number 4, it's a little bit tricky. We are doing a chain sum. Now the chain sum is fun, but it needs you to concentrate and to write your answers as you go. So let's take a look at the board. if we are saying 200 minus 10, that means our answer will come here. And then our answer will be used to continue the chain. So, let's start at 200 minus 10. Now remember, you can use your decade numbers to subtract. So if we are subtracting using the decade numbers, that means it's 200 minus 10 equals 190. So we have managed to fill in a gap that was there in the chain. So our chain so far says 200 minus 10 equals 90. Now we're going to take our answer and say 190 minus 20 equals. And the answer we get here is going to help us move on in the chain. Remember, we are dealing with decade numbers. So 190 minus 20 when we're dealing with decade numbers is 170. But the chain doesn't stop there, my children. You need to continue the chain. So please, please, please remember, for number 1, you can simply use your number line and count backwards. For the ones for number 2, you need to first look at the pictures and then they will tell you which numbers you're going to use to complete the sum and get your answer. For number 3, you are going to use the balloon and the number inside the balloon so that you can get your answer. And for number 4, it is a chain where you have to write your answers as you go to get your final answer. Whew, this is a lot, boys and girls, but I trust you. So take your time, make sure you use your number line, your counters, and your fingers if you need to. Don't forget about the decade numbers, and I'll see you when you're done with this exercise.
Do you have children in the age range of 5 to 6 years and want to participate in our school booklet program? Please contact us on 081 74 3759 and we will put you on our distribution list for the attention of pre-primary schools. Topics include family, summer, culture, traditions and houses, transport and communications, occupations, autumn and more. We distribute countrywide in over 7 different languages.
For our next exercise, boys and girls, let's now turn to page 27. On page 27, the first thing we're going to do is find the missing number. Now, where a cupcake is standing is also a missing number. So it is going to be our job to find that number. I am going to do number 1 with you and then you can do the rest. So let us take a look at the board. Number 1 says 45 minus plus 10 minus the missing number will give us 40. So first we need to find out what 45 plus 10 is. So if we are using our decade numbers, because 10 is a decade number, we already know that 45 plus 10 equals 55. So we are going to write our 55. Now that we know what 45 plus 10 is, which is 55, we now want to say 55 minus 40. Now, if we say 55 minus 40, we are going to write it like this. We have our 55 and then we subtract 40. So we say, first of all, 5 minus 0. Now, if we say 5 minus 0, we have 5 and then we don't take away anything. We will remain with 5. So we know that our answer for the first one is 5. And then we say 5 minus 4. I have 5 and I take away 4. So that means our answer is 1. Which means that our missing number is our answer. So 55 minus 40, the 40 that we got from the equal sign, is 15. So we are going to write the number 15. So the trick here, grade 3s, is that whatever answer you get from the first one, you need to subtract it from your original answer. Then you will find the missing number. Let's now move on to number 2. Number 2 is talking about problem-solving sums. Now we are going to do B for number 2. Remember, a problem-solving sum is a story that has a problem that you need to solve. So we are going to read our short story 3 times. But you are going to read it the first time to understand, the second time to know what you need to make the answers, and the third for your answer completion. So let us read it together. Amber bought 30 sweets for the party. 8 were left. How many did they eat? Let's read it again. Amber bought 30 sweets for the party. 8 were left. How many did they eat? So our job here is to find out how many sweets are left. And by doing so, we need to subtract. So we will take our big number here. In this case, our big number here is 30. So we are going to write 30, and because we are subtracting, we put our minus sign, and then we are going to take away what was left. And what was left was 8. So you say 30 minus 8. And I want you to work this one out by yourself. Now the next one, which is number 3, is the chain sum. Now remember, the chain sum can be very fun, but it needs you to concentrate. So we are going to start at the beginning of our chain sum, which is 30 minus 5. So I have 30 and then I'm going to take away 5. Let's use our counters. So we need 5 counters for this one. We're going to use the blue ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then our answer counter today will be red. So we are going to count backwards from 30, and the number that is in front of 30 is 29. So let's start. 29, 28, 27, 26, 25. So that is our answer. So we're going to write our answer 25. Remember, boys and girls, when we are doing chain sums, our answer helps us to link the chain and move it forward. In this case, our answer 25 will now be used to continue the chain. So we started at 30 minus 5 equals 25. Now we are saying 25 plus 3 equals dash. So we can still use our counters, and instead of having the 5 counters, we're going to remove some and make sure we have 3 because we are adding to 25. Now we are moving forward. So the number after 25 is 26. So we are going to count 26, 27, 28. So we are going to write our 28. But the chain doesn't stop there, so we need to continue. So now that we have our first answer, our second answer, we're going to use our second answer, which is 28, to subtract from, we say 28 minus 10. So we're going to subtract 10 from 28. Now you can use the decade method where we take 10 and then we say 28 minus 10 equals 18. So we're going to write our 18. The rest of the chain, my boys and girls, you're going to do by yourselves. Remember, when you're doing the first one, you need to subtract whatever answer you get from the first one to the answer here to find your missing number. It is all about finding the missing number and not what is behind the equal sign. So you need to make sure that you subtract your first answer from the answer behind the equal sign to get the missing number. For number 2, you need to read the story sum and make sure that it is correct. Make sure that you also understand what it is asking you to find. Then for number 3, continue the chain. Make sure that it is the correct answer before you move on with your chain.
Follow us on MyZone Facebook Active Kids to watch your daily lesson and other fun activities with Zoe and Zoshi.
We have now come to the end of our lesson, and remember, boys and girls, if something is too difficult or you didn't understand, you can always ask for help. Now that we are done, it's very important for us to sanitize. Now make sure when you sanitize that you sanitize inside your hands and around your hands and in between your fingers. Well done! I wonder though, Sashi was supposed to come with me so that we can go and see some traditional dancing. Sashi, where are you? Hello Sashi, how are you? That's good. So, from Sashi and I, we would like to say thank you for joining us today and goodbye!
Our online school will help you along the way. Find us at www.zoshi.online and download the booklet. Follow us on Facebook to never miss a video. Subscribe to our Zoshi Telegram channel if you want to receive daily updates. Proudly sponsored by Ministry of Education, Arts and Culture, Namibian Community Trust, UNICEF for Every Child, MyZone Online School and Amos Meerkat Syllabus.